King Robert Baratheon sits on the Iron Throne, but the stability of the Seven Kingdoms currently rests on the assumption that the great houses will respect his title. Between the Starks and the Lannisters, peace is a fragile agreement held together by royal decree. That agreement fractures inside Eddard Stark's chambers. Queen Cersei views the arrest of her brother, Tyrion, as a direct attack on her family. When Ned cites his legal authority as Hand of the King, Cersei ignores the law entirely, focusing instead on the perceived insult. Robert is caught between his wife's fury and his best friend's sense of duty. He demands they reconcile, ordering Tyrion's release to end the bickering. When Cersei mocks his strength, Robert strikes her, a sudden outburst that momentarily silences the room. The king who once led a rebellion now finds himself ruling a court where his words and titles no longer command genuine obedience. The blow he struck reveals a man struggling to maintain control through force when his political influence is fading. This vacuum of true authority leaves the players in King's Landing with a choice. They can rely on the old laws for protection, or they can adopt the ruthless pragmatism required to navigate a realm where those laws are being ignored. In the eerie sky cells, Tyrion Lannister faces a prison where the fourth wall is a 1,000-foot drop to the rocks below. In this cell, the Lannister name and the gold it represents offer no physical protection against the wind or the height. Understanding that his status won't save him here, Tyrion pivots to a legal loophole. He then demands a trial by combat, banking on the fact that even if Lysa Arryn hates him, she is bound by the laws of the realm to grant the request. The duel becomes a contrast of philosophies. Ser Vardis Egan fights with the heavy plate and rigid technique of a traditional knight. Bronn, a sellsword with no interest in chivalry, relies on speed and the absence of heavy armor. Bronn avoids direct contact, forcing Vardis to exert himself. He dances around the knight, waiting for the heavy swings to sap his opponent's energy. Once Vardis is gasping for air, Bronn finds his opening and delivers a decisive blow. The outcome illustrates a shift in the political landscape. In a world where the old rules are failing, the adaptability of a mercenary has become more effective than the honorable traditions of the knighthood. Across the Narrow Sea, Viserys Targaryen is blinded by his own lineage. He operates under the belief that being the rightful king automatically earns him an army, expecting the Dothraki to follow him simply because of the blood in his veins. Daenerys, meanwhile, builds her authority by integrating into Dothraki culture. While Viserys demands respect, she earns it by carrying Khal Drogo's child and learning the customs of the people she intends to lead. Viserys' desperation leads him to a breaking point. He enters the sacred city of Vaes Dothrak, draws a blade, and threatens Daenerys and her unborn child, violating the most sacred law of the Dothraki in a final attempt to assert dominance. His failure highlights a hard truth. A royal name is meaningless when it isn't backed by the physical strength or the cultural respect of the people around you. Back in King's Landing, Ned Stark continues the investigation that cost Jon Arryn his life. He spends his days poring over the genealogies of the great houses, looking for the detail that Arryn died to protect. Tracking the Baratheon line over generations reveals a pattern. Every ancestor has black hair, yet Joffrey, the heir, has Lannister golden hair. This severs his legal claim to the Iron Throne. He is the product of Cersei and Jaime. The succession is a lie. Ned takes immediate action while Robert is away. Sitting on the Iron Throne, he targets the Lannisters' most feared warrior, Gregor Clegane. He strips his lands and titles, declares him an outlaw, and summons Tywin Lannister to court. It is a move of immense conviction, but it leaves Ned vulnerable. He is attempting to use the law as a weapon against the very family that has already proven it has no intention of following it. These legal decrees and the discovery of Joffrey's true parentage have pushed the kingdom toward a conflict that can no longer be avoided. In Vaes Dothrak, the tension between Viserys and Khal Drogo reaches its conclusion. Viserys demands his crown one last time, and Drogo calmly agrees to give him exactly what he was promised. Drogo melts down gold ornaments in a pot. He restrains Viserys and pours the molten gold over his head. The very object Viserys believed he was owed becomes the instrument of his death. Daenerys watches the execution with a calm detachment. She realizes that her brother was never the leader he claimed to be, concluding that fire cannot kill a dragon. By the end of the episode, the status of every major player has changed. Tyrion is free, Daenerys has secured her place among the Dothraki, and Ned Stark holds a secret that threatens the entire Lannister dynasty. Viserys Targaryen died because he believed his name was enough to grant him power. In the Game of Thrones, survival is reserved for those who understand that entitlement is a poor substitute for adaptation.